everyone. If we could bring it back together. Good morning. As I said, I know this is a day full of information. If you've gone to other admit days, maybe you already know the deal, that you're going to sit, we're going to pontificate, we're going to talk a lot. But I do hope that you are having a good morning so far. I don't fault you if you want to step out and take a coffee break, especially at lunch. But we do just have about 55 minutes to talk about the student experience at Berkeley. So my name is Megan Braverman. I'm the Student Services and Admissions Advisor for the Master of Engineering program. It is such an honor to be here to talk to you all in person. I know I've talked to quite a few of you over email, so it's fantastic to kind of put the face to the email head subject line. I thank you for your patience during admission season and all of your great questions. I hope that I can continue to be a resource for you as you take the next 10 days to make a decision on graduate school. So I have the great honor of being here with Beth and Claire to tell you why you should choose Berkeley and why you should choose the Master of Engineering program. I may ramble. I'll give you a disclaimer. I love Berkeley. I went to Berkeley for my undergrad, and I never left. I have just been here hanging out at the Campanile, hanging out on South Side and downtown, because Berkeley is just truly my forever home. For you all, though, whether you are coming from the Bay Area or Berkeley itself, or you're coming from across the country, across the world, I think that Berkeley can be your home too. So why? Why do you choose Berkeley? Why do you decide to make that commitment to do a one-year professional program? And I'll start by saying that the MN should be the selling point. The Berkeley MN is huge, and it's full of energy and just this dynamic atmosphere where you really do get to learn from the people who you're sitting next to. You know, as you've kind of already got into admit day, I'm sure you're seeing tons of colored flags and just different faces and people coming from all over the place. And what you all have in common is that you are passionate about your study and about what you can do in a classroom, and that's what's led you to graduate study and led you to Berkeley. We take a lot of pride in the Berkeley MEng and with Berkeley Engineering and the Berkeley Graduate Division, where we created really this full year, but we've really tried to balance it between your technical skills, your leadership skills, and then also getting what you need out of the Berkeley ecosystem. I'll talk about that a bit more, but just in general, I'll remind you that UC Berkeley is very large. We are at 36,000 students, undergrad and graduate, and with such a large public university comes a lot of resources. What also comes with Berkeley and our proximity to Silicon Valley is this really entrepreneurial ecosystem. You know, I believe we already had a couple questions about, well, if I want to be an entrepreneur or I'm thinking of starting my business, I've already had a startup, I've already had that. How does Berkeley support you? This is just kind of a visual idea of what Berkeley as an institution can give you in tons of different sectors and across the board, but also what you're going to be able to experience off campus. So Berkeley itself has always been this hub of innovation and of exploration. We've got the National Lab just up on the hill. We've got Berkeley Skydeck downtown, which is an incubator for startups from Berkeley. We try to foster this feeling of being an innovator and being an entrepreneur throughout the system, whether you want to go on to have a startup or you want to work in a big business, learning these entrepreneurial skills is going to help you. And the Berkeley MEng really focuses on that, whether it's through taking an entrepreneurship class or working in a project that is more startup-based. I wanted to put this slide up to give you an idea of really putting into action those words. It's easy to say that we're entrepreneurial and we do a lot, but really looking at the events and what we are actually doing at UC Berkeley to give students the opportunity to learn and to experience. These events, kind of flyers that are happening, are all just happening this month. So with Berkeley comes so many speakers, so many opportunities to get onto campus, whether you're going as a participant or you're going as just an attendee. One that I'll highlight is our Grad Slam competition, which last year one of our MEng students placed third in. Her name was Kelsey Adams. She was a nuclear engineer. So she went in there and rocked it. She took all of the communication skills that we teach and then put them into play in the Berkeley kind of entrepreneurial ecosystem. Today is the Global Social Venture Capital at the Haas Business School. In just a couple weeks, we're going to have the TechCrunch Symposium, which is about robotics and AI. We have Big Ideas Pitch Day. I could keep going on, but I just want to remind you that as a UC Berkeley student, you have access and the opportunity to really be involved in all of these different opportunities. So with that being said, as far as outside of the classroom and what's going on, I do have to do the kind of programmatic side of the MEng. 1 year is so short, and I know that that's something you're all thinking about is, what am I actually going to be able to get done in not even a year, in a 9-month academic year? So this is just an idea of what a typical year in the MEng looks like. You'll see that UC Berkeley works on the semester system. We start right off the bat with our required boot camp on August 14th to 23rd. So you're going to class for 8 days straight, minus the weekend. We decided to nix the weekends because apparently y'all don't like going to class on the weekend. We get it. So you have boot camp to start off the semester, and then you just hit the ground running in your technical classes and starting in your leadership business classes. You do get a break for winter. We know you'll need it. So you'll be able to take a couple weeks for winter break, and then you come back again for our spring boot camp, which is then 10 days of class, going to class every day, also 2 classes before the start of the semester, and then you're back into it for your final semester of classes at UC Berkeley. So as far as support and, again, putting into practice what we say when we say that UC Berkeley is supportive and it's huge and you have resources, this is an idea of the different levels of support. So you've got your support within Berkeley. So we have our, or Berkeley MEng, excuse me. We have our dedicated career services that is just for MEng. Julie McShane and Dione will come and talk to you more about careers, but Julie and Dione are for you. They're for MEng, and they use their experiences working with their partners and working with the Bay Area ecosystem to help support you in your career development search. That comes with student services. Myself, Beth, and Claire, we're here for you and only you. You are our pride and joy. We have our Capstone team that is specifically MEng. And then, of course, our executive director, Wang, is so accessible. He's always here for our MEng students. Outside of the MEng and Fung Institute office, you of course have support from your technical advisors. So each department will have their own advisors and their faculty advisors to help support you more on the technical side. You have your course instructors across both the Fung Institute and the technical side that are there to help you through. And then finally, you have the actual Berkeley campus. I sound like a broken record, I apologize, but Berkeley is big. If you've come from a large public university, this isn't new, but if you're coming from a smaller school or maybe an international school, I would encourage you to just go to berkeley.edu and look at all of the things that UC Berkeley has to offer their students at both the undergraduate and graduate level. That comes with the Berkeley International Office. If you are international by passport, you have a hub of advisors and resources there just to support you as you get to campus and you go through. And then if you're looking at a job and you're hoping to stay in the States, there's a lot of resources for you there to make sure that you're able to meet that goal. So with that, I will stop with my rambling, and I do want to make sure we have plenty of time to ask our current student panel lots of questions. If you've talked to me before, I've probably given you a disclaimer that I have lots of information and I'm happy to share it, but I encourage you and press new admits to always leverage the current students. They are the ones living through it. I am not an engineer. I did not do the Master of Engineering. I can talk to you about other things, but these are the folks that are really going to help you through that. So with that being said, I'm going to push it over to Claire so she can moderate our Q&A. I will be hovering all day. Please come talk to me if you want to talk about the MEng, if you want to talk about the best pizza in Berkeley, the best craft brew in Berkeley. I got you. Let's talk. Thank you. I am so pleased to be here, and I hope to have you all on campus in August. Go Bears!
Hello again, thanks Megan. So this is our lovely panel of the student experience, and they're excited to speak with you all. So let's begin with introductions. I'm going to kick it off with a few questions like the capstone, and then we will take Q&A at the end. So introduction, starting with the person farthest from me. Please state your name, your department, and your undergrad degree.
Okay. Hi, I'm Patrick. So I'm in product design for mechanical engineering, and I went to Vassar for undergrad, and I did physics there, and I also did a year abroad at Dartmouth for engineering.
Hi, I'm Satkin, and I'm in IEOR, and as an undergrad, I was in chemical engineering.
Hi everyone, I'm Aditi. I'm in the EECS department here in the data science and systems track, and I did my undergrad also in computer science in India.
Hey guys, my name is Zining. So I'm in the civil engineering department in the systems engineering track. I did my undergrad up in Canada at University of Waterloo.
Hi everyone, so my name is Oskar. I'm in the bioengineering department. I'm from Belgium, so I did my undergrad in Belgium, and it was also in biomedical engineering.
So my first question is for Aditi and Oskar, starting with Aditi. Please tell us, why did you choose Cal?
So I think when I was trying to decide between Cal and similar programs at universities like Carnegie Mellon, UT Austin, UCSD, I think the one thing that really stood out for me from this program was the kind of flexibility the Cal MEng offers you for you to shape your path going forward. What I mean by that is I have friends in the EECS department with me, and we're doing the same technical courses, but they've decided to supplement their technical courses with courses in departments like statistics or informational sciences. I, on the other hand, decided that I wanted to get a taste for business and entrepreneurship and marketing research. So that's the direction I decided to go in. And this kind of flexibility is not only just offered in the Cal MEng, it's encouraged in the Cal MEng. And I think no other program that I was looking at was offering flexibility of this kind. The second reason is the leadership courses, or the leadership part of this curriculum, is something very unique that no other program offers you. And people can say things like, these are the kind of skills you can learn on the job. I think there's a strong case to be made for saying that if you walk into a job or a work environment with these skills already in place, it sets you apart. In industry, in academia, or wherever. And so these were the two reasons that I decided to pick the Cal MEng over other programs.
Thank you. Oskar?
Yeah, thank you. I think Aditi really summarized it really well. Personally, for me, it was maybe a little bit different. So I have an undergrad and a Master's of Science from a university in Belgium. But it was very technical and very broad. And what I really liked about this program was really its organization. So you had this capstone in the middle of the program, and then you had all these business and leadership courses and the technical part, which were all integrated and which were all helping you to solve that capstone. So this was really, really good because it was, I feel like Masters of Science usually focuses on the technical part really much, but when you start working in the industry, there are all these skills that you don't necessarily think about beforehand. Being able to communicate, being able to do presentations. We had this class where we were recorded during the presentation, so we had to reflect about that. That was really great. So that was one reason. Another reason why was the fact the program was short. I'm sure some of you here have some past experience. And they want to learn something focused, and so 2 years might be too much. So that was also another argument for me.
My next question is for everyone on the panel, but we will begin with Patrick and go down the line. So please tell us, what is one piece of advice you wish you had known before entering the MEng program?
I think kind of like Megan was talking about, just how fast the program goes. You don't really realize it when you're sitting here. Like I was here last year for Admitted Students Day, and I'm about to graduate. Like assuming nothing bad happens this last month. So just like I think just taking advantage of everything that Berkeley has to offer and that the Bay Area has to offer. Like it's a really cool area, and I feel like looking back now, I made a list at the beginning of the year that was like I'm going to do all this stuff in San Francisco, and then I haven't really done any of it. So I think just like taking advantage of the time you have here, because it really goes by fast.
Yeah, for me, mine's super minor, but, and because you guys are all gonna have a really awesome time. At the Capstone Fair, there are probably around 200 projects or something. There's a ton of projects. So you have to do a little bit of research beforehand, figure out what projects you wanna do, which I did. And then when you go to the projects, what I did was I just focused on the ones that I wanted to do. And what I wish I had done is looked at all of the projects so that when my friends were talking about their projects, I knew what they were talking about. That was my one regret, was that I just like had the blinders on, just looked at my projects. So just take a look around at all of the other projects at the Capstone Fair.
Interesting. So I think the one piece of advice I wish someone would have told me before I joined this program was to not stress so much about the fact that it's only 9 months. I feel like we focus so much on the fact that it's a one-year program, and I remember back in like July or August, I was like, oh my God, how am I gonna get a job? It's only 9 months. And I ended up getting a job by September. So I was like, you can afford to chill a little, take it slow. It's really not that short, and I wish someone would have told me to stop stressing so much about the fact that it's 9 months.
I think for me, not really a piece of advice, but a piece of advice that I wish I followed more is sort of what Megan was talking about earlier, like just how much Cal has to offer, even outside of your coursework. So sure, you're here for like a master's program, you want to like do your coursework, you want to learn, but there's so much more outside of that. Like there's Skydeck, you can walk into Skydeck and like go see their seminars, there's talks like every day, there's info sessions every day that you can really learn a lot from. And that's something that courses can never really teach you. So I wish that I realized that earlier on and just made time to actually go out there and go to these info sessions, go to these speakers, go listen to these talks.
Again, I think they've summarized it pretty well. So yeah, I think it took me a while to realize that the strength of the program was not in trying to focus on classes and grades. I think that's really not the aim. There's really a ton of things you can do. As they said, there are conferences, there are plenty of career fairs, speakers talking. You have so many student organizations you can also take part in. Really, there's a ton of things. So I would say, yes, courses are important, and you should pick classes that are interest to you and spend some time working on that. But then don't spend all your time just working on classes, because it's honestly not worth it, and you can learn much more by just going out there, getting to know people, going to events. For example, this weekend, tomorrow I'm doing a hackathon, and there are plenty of these in the Bay. So really try and see the bigger picture and not just focus on the grades in your classes.
My next question is directed at Patrick and Zining, but starting with Zining. Please tell us what has been your favorite course at Cal and why.
I think this is sort of twofold. So my favorite leadership course at Cal would have been entrepreneurship, taught by Professor Zafar. So I'm not sure if you guys talked about boot camp before this, but essentially for my entrepreneurship course, it was very much in like a case study format, and that was something that was completely new to me. It really something that trained you to think on the spot, and it really made you think almost differently. It's almost like a debate format. So that's something that I found that was new to me. I feel like I learned a lot from that course, and it was just interesting to me. I think in terms of technical courses, well, I'm in the civil engineering department, but that name is sort of misleading. We do a lot of really like computer science, data science, and all that in the systems program. So there were many courses there which taught me like just not to be afraid of computers, such as like a course called like 290i. It kind of demystifies this whole computer system. So if you're in civil engineering, I can just come up to me. I can talk to you more about courses.
I guess I got to do two now, too. So I think my favorite leadership class has been 295 from the fall semester. So it was actually Michelle was in the same class as me, yeah. But it's a communications class for engineering leaders, and we really worked on our presentation skills. And I think, I don't know, for a lot of engineers, you don't have that much experience presenting necessarily, or like just talking to people in general because you're so busy doing your own work. So I think just the chance to kind of work on those skills was really cool. And I think my favorite technical class so far was an upper limb prosthetic design class. So we worked with a lot of robotics. The professor for the class actually had done a lot of research on underwater robots and kind of working with the fingers for those. So we used those in labs. And then for our final project, we followed kind of like, I'm a big human-centered design person, so this was a really cool project to me, but we got to work with someone from the Bay Area that had some sort of either disability or amputation, and actually design a prosthetic or for them specifically. So we were working with a high schooler who had a couple of fingers that were amputated, and actually getting to design a device specifically for her was really cool, working with her and just seeing her use it at the end of the class was like a really cool moment for us. I think just an emotional too, given how much work we put in. So I think that was really cool.
Thank you. This next question is for everyone on the panel. We'll start with Oskar. Please tell us, how did you maintain a school-life balance?
Okay, so again, I guess that really depends on everyone, your own schedule, how many classes you take, what you decide to do. Personally, I feel like, okay, so one of the strengths of the program is that everyone comes together at the beginning of the year, and no one knows each other, and so groups form very quickly, and you end up having a ton of friends in many different groups. And so something that was really nice is that as soon as you have some time, you can be sure that you'll have a friend in another group will have some time, and I don't know, I like to keep at least one day during my weekends off, more or less. It depends on the period, but and then you can just go to SF. You can just you can travel. We did a bunch of trips along the year. For example, the very beginning of the year, I think 30 of us went to Lake Tahoe, all from the Immense program. You have Thanksgiving. You can also travel during Thanksgiving. You know, you have access to the support facility here, so it's nice to like block a little bit of your time during the week to just change your mind. I mean, we're all humans. We all need some time off. So courses, classes are important, but you know, it's also important to think about yourself. And yeah, don't worry. You won't get bored here. There's really a lot you can do, but I wouldn't say it's something you have to worry about. We also put a limit at some point, and
yeah. Yeah. So I think basically what Oskar said. I think just like really realize the importance of having like a mental health break every once in a while. So you can't always be just like working, go. Like I know there's like a lot of stuff that you want to get done. There's not enough time in the day, right? But just make sure you take some time for yourself to just relax, take a deep breath, and yeah, I think that's very healthy.
Yeah, so in terms of school-life balance, I think it all comes down to prioritization. There are some people for whom it's important to take regular breaks while you're working, so that can mean eating dinner out once every 2 days. I'm the type of person who'd rather work a lot and then have a burst of a lot of fun and then go back to work and stuff. So I think it's about how you perceive, how you think you function best. But honestly, I mean, I've taken Thanksgiving trips. I did a trip in winter break. I just did a trip in spring break with basically the people around here. And it's definitely possible. I feel like for me, taking that 1 week off, going all out, and then coming back re-energized was really important. Even during like work periods, you can prioritize if classes are important, or if you think working on your startup idea is important, or if you think volunteering with school children is important. Like, there's a lot of flexibility, but I think it's just up to you to not be influenced by what people around you think is the correct work-life balance. Just figure out a schedule for yourself. It's very possible, even though it seems intense, but it's possible. So.
Yeah, I agree with the others. I think you have a lot of control over your own schedule. Like right now I have 6 hours of class a week, so all of those other hours I can do whatever I want with, and I mostly choose to work during them. But you can do whatever you want. I've taken off a lot of weeks too, and like a lot of weekends, so it really hasn't been a challenge for me.
Yeah, I think along the same lines as what Michelle said, like because you can set your own schedule, like I'm also not taking a ton of classes this semester because I also wanted to make sure I had time to focus on doing job hunt stuff and just taking time for myself. But I think just taking advantage of free time that you have, like, and saying that it's okay to take a break from work every once in a while. For me, I'm in a lot of project-based classes, so depending on what stage the project is in, I have very different workloads at very different times of the year. So I think just taking advantage of time when I don't have as much going on to take care of myself is kind of what I've been doing.
My next question is for Michelle and Patrick, and this is a pretty popular one that I've seen discussed on Whova. It's how did you find your housing? Starting with Michelle.
Yeah, so what I did was I immediately applied for graduate housing through the university, and the woman who runs that program is super nice, but also very good at under-promising. And so I knew that there was sort of a slim chance that I would actually get placed. So time passed, and the date that we were starting was getting closer and closer. And finally, 3 weeks before we were starting class, I still hadn't heard back from them, and she would give me updates that she didn't have a place for me yet, but that she might in the future. So I took it into my own hands, and I went to the off-campus housing website, which is a super great resource. I think you don't need to look at that until just a few weeks before. I don't think it's helpful to like look at that website in May, or looking for a place in August. I think I looked right before in July. I booked 3 appointments. All of them would have been good. I chose a really great place, and it's on the Pacific School of Religion campus, if anyone's eventually interested in that. And so I thought it was actually surprisingly easy, and just wanted to convey that the graduate housing through the university may not happen. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a similar experience, but I probably applied a little bit later to graduate housing than I should have, but I didn't unfortunately get that. And so I was probably around June, and I was actually working in Florida at a summer camp, so I had no access to internet or anything like that. So my mom did a real big solid, and she did my house hunting for me. But she was just looking on like a lot of online listing sites, so Craigslist, like Zillow, all the things like that. And she found a place. I think she started looking and within a week she had found a place that she committed to. And I'm on North Side. I'm like 10 minutes from the classes that I'm in, so I'm in a really good spot, I think, for me. But it was, again, like a super easy process. And it really wasn't, I mean, obviously, okay. But for my mom even, it was like she was really worried about finding housing, and then she was like, after it was all done, she was like, that was not a problem at all. So I think I have friends that found, that were here at Visit Day, and they met their roommates, so they talked about that, they planned it out. I know people that literally came to campus like the week before and were able to find a place. So it's definitely scary to think about it now, but it's really not too much of a challenge. And I also can say that like my lease will be up in a couple of months, so if anybody's looking for a place.
Wow. Quick question for the panel. Do you guys feel like you need a car?
No.
I can start. No. As long as you're mentally prepared to walk a lot, because there's a lot of hills, and you're mentally prepared to not be grossed out by the bus and the BART, you're gonna be fine. And honestly, I don't have a car. I don't think I've ever owned my own car, and I'm fine. It's not a big deal. Berkeley's small enough, and connections to SF are plenty, so you're probably gonna be fine without a car. But other opinions?
Yeah, I was going to say, I have a car, and every 3 weeks I go out with my fob, and I try to find my car. So I don't think you need a car. Yeah.
Thank you. So I want to make sure that we have enough time for your burning questions. But before we do, I do have a specific question for Zining. Please tell us about your exciting experience winning the South by Southwest Bows Challenge.
Well, thank you guys. So yeah, no, it was definitely exciting. I think a little background on that, it all kind of started from a BOSE hackathon that the Fung Institute actually organized back in last October. So we participated in that, we were successful through that, and we decided, you know what, like we're gonna keep working on this project. It was a lot of fun for us, we learned a lot. So how the BOSE South by Southwest challenge happened was kind of on a whim. I think I don't remember what I was procrastinating, but like I was like looking through, just like searching up like BOSE stuff, as you do. And then there was an advertisement for this challenge. They're like, oh, we're working on BOSE AR now. We want people to develop for us and then submit a pitch video. So I was like, you know what, like deadline's in a week. There's not much that I can lose. What's the worst that can happen? We slapped together a video, we took our project, revamped it a bit, and submitted it. And then we got an email saying that, you know, you're a finalist, come down to Austin. And then we're like, oh, well, that's interesting. So then we go to Austin, we meet up with like the other finalists, but the other finalists were actually startups in the AR industry. So when I first met them, I thought they were actually the other judges. So then after we found out they were the other finalists, it's like, okay, you know what, we had a good run. This has been fun. We got a trip to Austin. So then like we went up there, pitched our idea. Our idea was like definitely less technical than what the startups did, but I think both really liked what we pitched, and we somehow won. So then I think that whole thing is like still kind of fresh to me, so I'm still kind of like trying to comprehend it. But yeah, no, that was just a really cool experience. But I think like the moral of that story is sort of just don't be afraid to just do something. Don't be afraid to like press that application button, even though you feel like you might not be fully qualified. Like, what's the worst that can happen? So, yeah.
Thank you, and congratulations again to you and your team.
Thank you.
Yes. So let's transition over to Q&A, and then we have about 15 minutes for questions, and then we're gonna have lunch. So who's our first?
If you can raise your hand, I'll try and get you the microphone.
Oh.
I don't need the microphone.
Oh, okay.
We want to record it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then your name and different.
Sure. So hi, my name's Josh Edwards, IEOR. Michelle, this question's for you, similar to other prospective students I spoke to. My undergrad's in Chemi. Could you talk a little bit about the transition and if there was any difficulty in it?
Yeah. So I was a chemical engineering undergrad, and then I spent 5 years working, and one of the things that I found when I was working was that I didn't really need stronger technical skills in chemical engineering to be effective. I needed stronger, kind of more, to be more well-rounded, and that's why I chose this program, because it was technical and applied, and it had that little business piece in it. So I think it's been great. The classes have been difficult, but super interesting, very in line with the work that I did in chemical engineering, and so a lot of the math and things like that are super similar, and then just much more tailored to my interests, which also makes it easier. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Jeremy. I am ME in controls, and this is for Patrick because my undergrad was in physics, and you mentioned yours was too, so I wanted to know what the process was like, kind of like catching up on the engineering stuff, even though you had that 1 year engineering experience that I also don't have that. So it's even a little more intense. So I wanted to know what it's like trying to catch up on the engineering side of things.
That's a great question. So I think a lot of it is kind of like, you don't realize it now, but like a lot of physics translates pretty easily over to engineering stuff. So like it's the same process, you're just applying it to different situations. So like if you have to do like a kinematics equation or something, like a lot of that same stuff applies in engineering. So like thinking back to like when I was, so I did my year abroad junior year, and I was super scared too, because I was like, I don't really know what I'm going to be able, like if I'm going to be able to do anything. But I think one of the big things is like there's people to help you everywhere. So I took advantage of like my GSIs, of like my classmates and like anyone else. Like people at Berkeley especially are really willing to help you out if you ask for it. So just taking advantage of the time. Like I think it does take a little bit more effort in some areas that you might need to catch up on. But I think it's really, as long as you're willing to work at it and you're confident in yourself, like you'll be able to catch up no problem.
Okay. Hi, Patrick Savage in civil engineering, transportation engineering specifically. Again, about housing and living. Just like where's like the cool place to live? Like what's the difference between living on the north side of campus versus the south side? Or how about west of campus, like downtown near the BART stations? Like what's like where like the places to live and the places not to live, and I don't know.
I have opinions about that.
Okay,
yeah, just
you can.
generally.
Well, we all do.
So I live north side, like I said. I'm kind of on like the northwest corner of campus. So like literally, if you go down the hill that's on, I don't know what side of the building it is from here, but like if you go down that hill, like I'm at the bottom of it. So I think I really like north side because I think I'm close to downtown and the BART station, which is really convenient if I ever want to go into the city, and I'm close to all my classes, which I like. But on top of that, there's like kind of like there's like a couple blocks that are, I forget what it's called. It's like the culinary gourmet ghetto. Yeah, that's what it is. Pretty close to North Side, where there's like a lot of food, and I love eating. So so for me, like having access to that like right next to me is really cool. And I think just in terms of proximity, like all my classes are also on North Side, so that might not be the case for you depending on your department, but I think that was super convenient too for me to just be able to roll out of bed and go to class instead of having to like make a long trek.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm actually gonna say, so I live on the south side, and I'm gonna say that's a pretty cool place to live because while the north side does have gourmet ghetto, it's like the fancy eating area. South side has all the, the burger places and the cheap sushi and all of that stuff, but it also has all the, it has some fun drinking places. And I remember when we were new to the program, I don't know if the rest of the students remember, but we used to go to those two South Side bars like all the time, as if like that was where we were meant to converge. But anyways, the South Side is pretty fun. If there is, initially I was a little concerned with like safety in the South Side, but I don't really think it needs to be that big a concern that you choose not to live in the South Side at all. I live pretty close to campus. My classes are all over campus, so it's not like I have class only on one side, but even my farthest class is like a 15-minute walk, so it's really not that big a deal. But yeah, go South Side.
I'll add to that. So I think the south side is the cool side, and the north side is the residential side. That's where I live. I love living there. It's super quiet, super safe. I live in a seminary, so it's just like a religious school, and so it's not the south side. Yeah, so there's not a lot of bars there, but I really like it. Also, it's really close to Shires is on the north side, and Echeverry is where IEOR classes are. And so it's very close to that. So my classes start, like let's say a class starts at 10, I leave at 10, and I still get to class on time, which is pretty good. So also it's Berkeley time, so they actually start at 10:10, so there's that, yeah. But so I think south side is the cool side, north side is the boring side.
I wouldn't say boring, but like
it's
it's quieter. It's quieter on north side. Let's go with that.
Yeah, it's not boring, it's quieter. And the west side is even quieter, if you're interested. It's very residential. Kayla lives there. Very quiet. But yeah, still go south side.
Yeah, I will say if you are looking, if you're planning on cooking for yourself, I know there's a Trader Joe's and there's a Safeway that are like close, that are kind of like on the downtown line. So if you are trying to live close to a place, so you don't have to, like I walk 15 minutes to get my groceries and I carry all my stuff back. So I think I will say if you are planning on shopping a lot, I might live in West Side just because that's close to all the like the grocery stores.
But the South Side is closer to Berkeley Bowl and Whole Foods, so
These are all great tips. Take notes. Next question. Thank you.
So my name's Tiffany. I'm also Mechie with the product design concentration. I was just wondering how difficult or easy was it to pick your class schedule, just since Cal has so many courses, I imagine, with the student body population. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I think for me, I've taken product design because you can take almost any class and have it count towards your concentration. I think I really like that because I like being able to take whatever I want. But I think there's for me, I've taken mostly classes that are in Jacobs, and a lot of those classes have like a mini little application for them. So it's literally like a one-page thing that'll have you submit your resume, kind of like why you're interested in the class and what you hope to get out of it. So I haven't had much trouble getting into classes just because I'm through that process. I've gotten into all my classes, but I do know there's definitely like still a shopping period after like classes start where there's a lot of movement. So like if you don't get accepted in that application, so you don't get into a class, there's a lot of movement within the first couple of weeks. So I feel like I haven't personally had a problem with it. I'm sure there's people that might have had some scheduling conflicts. But there's like a lot of things that you can take, and there's lots of amazing classes, so I think you'll end up fine.
Question back there.
Are you guys in any clubs?
Yeah, so in the first semester, I realized after a few weeks that I didn't take enough courses. I had a lot of time. It's like, okay, how can I fill in my time? There are plenty of organizations. I guess that's what you mean by clubs, like student organizations. So I joined two clubs actually. So the Biomedical Engineering Society. So I was part of the academic committee there. It was really nice. I would say the people were a bit younger, mostly undergrads. But still, it was nice to meet other people, like outside of your usual group of friends. Super welcoming. It's of course hard when you just come in from another school because like a lot of people either are there since a few years or they will stay there for a while, and so they get more committed in the club. But it was still super nice. We organized a graduate student panel, actually similar to this one, a bit more disorganized, but it was very fun. So that was the first semester, and then I also I joined the Red Cross at Cal. Did a bit of volunteering, also super nice, met a lot of people. Worked at a concession during a football game, so we prepared the food, the burgers and stuff. And actually at the end, we put everything in boxes, all the food, and we brought it to People's Park. It's a park south of campus. A lot of poor people, and they were hungry. I mean, we brought them the food; they were super happy. So yeah, super nice experience.
So one of the additional ways I decided to get involved, apart from like academics, was with the Fung Institute itself. They have positions for like academic reps, social reps. So I try to work as much as I can with Megan and Julie and everyone. So that was one thing. But another thing that I found really exciting here in Berkeley, there's this organization called Community Resources for Science. They go around Berkeley middle schools and help middle school kids with their science projects. So basically it's like it's called Be a Scientist. It's called bringing a scientist from an institute like Berkeley into middle schools and teaching them the scientific method, hypothesis formation, the actual experimentation, testing, analysis. So I help out kids with that, and I think that's been really fulfilling. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. Oh, and the Girl Scouts keep visiting EECS departments for like visit days every now and then, so you get a chance to hang out with them, reminisce about the old days. So I've done that a couple of times too, but yeah.
We have a question down. Okay.
Hey, Tony from Georgia Tech, Perspective IEOR. I've got a question about opportunity in teaching assistants and research assistants. I was just wondering, as engineering students, will we have opportunity in those areas, or is it a bad idea? Thank you.
I'm gonna say the company line is no. You can't. You're not allowed to be a GSI or a GSR. That's the question, right? GSI, GSR. Yeah. Maybe, I guess, if on maybe a one-off basis, possibly, but no. Overall, that's not. It's not encouraged, and moreover, it's not allowed.
Oh, we had a question over here, Julie.
Hi, I'm Demi Ibrahim, and I'm BIOE. Aditi, earlier you were talking about work. Can you just explain more what you do, and like just anyone in general on the panel, if you guys like actually worked while you were, a student here, how that worked out?
Work as in part-time work?
Yeah, like a job, like actual job, like to like make money and stuff.
Oh, I don't have a part-time job, if that's what you were asking. Okay. When I mentioned work, I meant I was job hunting for after the program. Do you still want to?
Yeah, you were just talking about like rep. You were like, you like said you were working with the Fung.
Oh, okay, got it.
It's like an actual job, or like you're just
it's
like volunteer?
It's a volunteer-based position. They have three. I'm gonna say I think 3 academic reps and 3 social reps. I think that's the. You can apply if there's more applicants than positions. They interview you. It's not a paid position, if that's what you're asking. Yeah, it's just volunteer-based. Yeah.
It's a good leadership position.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would add to that. I think so. I was working and I was thinking about doing it part-time. I think it's been a great choice to just quit my job, focus on this whole like 100% for 10 months, and then I'll get a job later. And I think there's just so much here that you can do, and you're not going to have that doors. Most of those things are going to go away in 2 months for me, and so just taking advantage of that while I'm here has been a really good choice for me.
I'm just gonna add one small thing. There are people, like I do have a friend who is working part-time along with the program. It's really hard. It's a lot of work, and there's a bunch of hoops to jump through to get approval for something like that. It is possible though, if that's what you're asking. He is working part-time, he is getting paid, so.
We have time for about 2 more questions.
Hi guys, my name is Todd. I'm a prospective mechanical engineering student, and I was wondering if any of you guys play intramural sports or any other sports activities on campus, or even do like any kind of outing clubs or anything like that.
So I'm not involved in like organized sports, but I will say there's a really, really healthy pickup basketball scene here at Berkeley. So I try and work out, and I haven't been doing a great job at that recently, but I use the rec facilities decent amount, and there's usually people there trying to put together games. So I can speak to that a little bit, but otherwise, no.
Yeah, go ahead.
Good. So there's also a bunch of people from the MEng who team up to go and play football, like real football, soccer. They team up and they just go and play over the weekend. I don't usually join them, but there's that, and you can definitely organize groups on Slack, for example, with other people from the MEng. There are a bunch of courses that are available, so you can take advantage of that.
I think some of the girls. Again, I'm not one of them, but some of the girls were, they have their own like organized volleyball team. They play on the weekends. So yeah, there's definitely opportunities if you're interested.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I know a lot of people.
We picked the lazy ones.
Yeah, and then I think there are a lot of weekend trips too that we organize kind of formally, informally. And there's definitely been some Tahoe. There have been some Napa Valley stuff,
yes.
And some San Francisco, a lot of San Francisco stuff. So yeah, a lot of different trips like that.
Okay, just one more question.
Hi, I'm Julia. I'm a BIOE, prospective BIOE. I was just wondering, you guys talked about like your trips to with the people in this room. Like, would you say the majority of your close friends are in the MEng program?
Yeah. I came to Berkeley only for the MEng, so I did not have any people that I knew here before. So I have definitely made a lot of close friends here in the program, a lot. And the thing is, it's the best part about this program is I'm not restricted to friends just in EECS. I think some of my closest friends are like in IEOR, BIOE, mechanical, and like all over the place. And it's really, and I was just discussing this yesterday with someone else, compared to other like research-based programs like the MS or the PhD, it's so much easier to make friends in this program because there's such a focus on like togetherness within the cohort. Everyone is usually new. It's like 50 to 70% international. So everyone's just like, in the beginning few months at least, everyone is just running to make friends. So it's so easy. It's the best, yeah.
I think like MEng just naturally is a very tight group. So we tend to stay together. Everyone's working at Shires. Like you always see people like no matter what program like working at Shires. And also like a lot of the leadership courses, you're with like people from all different departments. Some of my closest friends right now, like I've met through the leadership courses, and they're not in my program. They're from like other programs. So yeah, we do meet a lot of friends in the MEng program.
Yeah, but it's also easy to meet people from outside the MEng, either by joining clubs or you can just go to spots on Thursday nights.
Yeah, I would say, like, while I think the closest friends I have are in the MEng, just because I see them all the time, like, that's not to say that I don't talk to other people outside of the program. Like, I think just through classes and group projects, like, I've met a lot of people from, like, all over campus and, like, undergrads, grad students from different programs and outside of MEng. So I think you're not just limited to talking to MEng people. You can talk to other people on campus, too.
That's not what I meant. Also, a really interesting place to find friends that I've found here in Berkeley is the International House. It has people from so many different programs and like so many different countries, and I've met people not in the MEng who I ended up going on the trips that I was talking to about with. So yeah, it's very inclusive.
Thank you all for your questions, and let's thank the panel for sharing their student experience.